everyone. Was thinking of Easter's past and reflecting a little bit on my family. When I was born, my parents were older. My mom was 44 when I was born. My dad was 43. I did have an older sister, and I have an older brother. My sister was 15 years older than me, and my brother 13 years older than me. So I was kind of raised in a different time period. When I was raised, we didn't do vacations. Unfortunately, I found out that my sister and brother would go on vacation with my parents, and I'm still working through that hurt. But what we would do is we would drive an hour and a half away from Toledo to a town called Sandusky, Ohio. There was an amusement park there called Cedar Point. Does anybody else know Cedar Point? Oh, wow. You're good. Cedar Point was I'm biased, but if you look at the internet, Cedar Point is rated higher than Six Flags. It has more roller coasters, but it also has more park area and more rides that aren't roller coasters. Recently, they merged Cedar Point and the Six Flags companions. But anyway, when we would go to Cedar Point, my favorite ride there was the Blue Streak roller coaster. I love roller coasters, or I loved them at least in the past. It was some kind of anticipation. You would get in the car and that little bar would kind of latch. You would feel a little wiggle, and I would always think, is it going to be safe? Is it going to be safe? You would go in the first hill there. That's the first thing you did. You went up this huge hill, and the anticipation as you're going up there, hearing the rackety, rackety, rackety of the car as it's going up. And then it gets to the end, and it kind of starts hanging over, and it just stops there for that moment. And then it plunges down, and it goes down the other hills and around these twisty, curvy things. I loved them so much. I would get off that ride, and I would get back in line again to go on it. That was when I was young. Now I don't do roller coasters. It feels like my life is a roller coaster. I have good days and bad days. I have ups and downs. I'm busy and, busier. It's just a constant flux of motion in my life. But I was thinking about that roller coaster and thinking about what we've heard over these last few days, what the disciples must have been feeling, like their life was on a roller coaster. They had that anticipation of climbing that hill when it's like the Messiah is born in our lifetime. How wonderful this is. That adrenaline would go. And then all of a sudden, Good Friday comes and they're plunged down that hill into the turns of life. Up and down and sideways and upside down, and now they hear that Jesus is risen from the tomb. That's what some people are saying. And it's like they had to ask themselves, do I want to believe? Do I want to put my hope in this again? I was crushed when he was crucified. But there's a flicker of hope in them that Christ is still alive. That's what we celebrate today. That flicker of hope. Because each one of us has that roller coaster experience of life. We have the good days, we have the bad days, we have the times where we can't see what's coming around the corner. Sometimes we wonder, is God really there? Is he present? But something inside of us, especially on Easter, says he is. There's something that draws so many people to church on Easter Sunday. You've had that experience of trying to get here with all the parking issues, but so many people long for this understanding to see the risen Christ. As painful and as difficult as that should be, there should still be a sense of gratefulness in us. Thinking about how much he loves us. And our faith coming here today should inspire the faith in everyone else. Because all of us have those days when we question or we wonder, did God hear our prayer? As I was contemplating reflecting on the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, looking at their resurrection stories, there is something that figures in all four of their Gospels, and that's the stone. Each one of them takes care to remind us of the stone that was rolled away. I started playing with that image because the stone didn't have to be rolled away for Jesus to rise from the dead. We'll hear next week and in the following weeks, he walks through doors, he appears in rooms. The stone wouldn't have to be rolled away. So why is it so prominent in those Gospels? I think for two reasons. One is the historical aspect of that. When Jesus was crucified, historically, they put a stone in there and it was sealed and they posted guards there. So there's the truth in that. But I think also metaphorically for us, we need to ask ourselves, what stones block us from seeing inside the tomb? What stones block us from walking in and seeing the emptiness of that tomb, recognizing fully that Jesus rose from the dead? What keeps us out in the garden, wondering and waiting? What keeps us locked up in those upper rooms with fear? Perhaps it's that we need to name that stone and ask Jesus to roll it away. Is it pride? Unforgiveness? Lust? Past hurts or failures that we experience? Shame? What's keeping us from living out our Christian faith authentically each and every day? To say that the stone is rolled away and he lives, and our life should witness that. Maybe it's our fear of what other people would say if we lived out our faith authentically each moment of our life. Easter isn't just the story of a stone rolled away long ago. It's an invitation to let Jesus roll away the stones that bind us. Out of love for us, he suffered and died. And because he loves us still, he rose again for us today. So today we don't stand outside the tomb, we step into the light. We let fear give way to faith, and we proclaim the truth that echoed for over 2,000 years. Christ is risen. Alleluia.